Hello friends, welcome to my channel USA Time N24. Here you will get all the latest gossip updates. So don't delay, subscribe to the channel now. 3 months after the Teen Mom 2 alum shut down speculation that she and fiancé Elijah Scott broke up due to cheating rumors, she seemed to confirm that they have since called it quits. "I get a lot of ST for leaving my kids' dads," she told host Lala Kent on a June 27th episode of her Give Them Lala podcast. "I left all of them because I, to some degree, take no ST. And since the two share son Rio too, as well as twins Verse and Valley 19 months, that includes Elijah. There are a lot of unique circumstances in our family, because I do have 4 fathers to my children," the reality star, who is also mom to kids Elliot, 15, Lincoln, 11, Lux, 7, and Creed, 4, from previous relationships, continued. "I'm neighbors with one of them." After the Vanderpump Rules star asked which of her exes she lived next to, she simply responded, "Elijah." News has reached out to Kailyn for comment, and has not heard back. Kailyn and Elijah's split comes nearly a year after the 33-year-old revealed the two had privately gotten engaged. After co-host Lindsay Crisley asked about the diamond on her ring finger during an episode of Coffee Convo's podcast last August, Kailyn laughed off the question. "This is the ring that they give you before you get married," she quipped before adding that her fiancé would be extremely happy their relationship update is finally out there. And since then, the two subtly addressed cheating rumors that arose after a TikToker released a series of videos alleging she slept with an engaged man, who she didn't directly name, from Teen Mom on a cruise. When fake news hits the group chat, Kailyn wrote in an April 6 TikTok video of her and Elijah staring at the screen with blank faces, adding in the caption, "Wrapping up our Sunday reading about ourselves." But when it comes to dealing with internet trolls, the MTV star has had plenty of practice throughout her 14 years in the spotlight. "I would say it doesn't bother me, but it absolutely did," Kailyn admitted to E! News last September of dealing with online hate in the past. "I was absolutely still looking. I was reading the comments. I was checking up on the troll pages. Now, she simply opts to ignore the outside noise. I just don't care," she added. "I don't want to see it. Everyone has skeletons. Everyone has things that they don't want the public to know. Everyone is messing up sometimes." Kailyn Lowry was just 17 when she and high school boyfriend Joe Rivera welcomed their eldest son, Isaac Elliott Rivera, on January 18, 2010. And though they split a year later, the exes have settled into a comfortable co-parenting arrangement. "We've come a long way since we were 18, Kailyn wrote on X after attending Joe and now wife V Rivera's 2018 wedding. "I couldn't ask for a better stepmom. As for her oldest son, we have literally grown up together, but in some ways he's even more grown than I am," she wrote in an Instagram tribute on his 13th birthday. Describing the devoted Olivia Rodrigo fan, musician, and basketball player as thoughtful, brilliant, funny, and at times a smartass, the Delaware State grad praised his caring heart. "I think what really inspires me about him is the way he challenges social norms," she wrote. "Because he is curious and open-minded, he can form his own thoughts and opinions." Elliott, who announced his intentions to go by his middle name on his mom's Barely Famous podcast in June 2025, while also coming out as gay, accepts people for who they are and never how they're supposed to be, Kailyn wrote. "More people should be like him." Lincoln Marshall Marroquin joined the squad on November 16, 2013, roughly a year after the then-star of Teen Mom 2 wed his father Javi Marroquin. Very much into sports, as Kailyn described the tween in a 2022 episode of her Barely Famous podcast, he spends a significant portion of his time bouncing between basketball and football games. He even had an NBA-themed bash for his 10th birthday, with a nod to his favorite player, Allen Iverson. No surprise, then, that he provided an assist when it came time to think up a name for his youngest brother. Verse came from Iverson, which is the name that Lincoln recommended, Kailyn revealed in a February 2024 TikTok. Obviously, it would be on his list because he's a huge basketball fan. And an all-star sibling. "To know Lincoln is to love him," she wrote in a 2022 birthday tribute. "Dedicated, smart, handsome, and the best brother out there. Football, wrestling, Rubik's Cubes, and Michael Jackson. These are a few of Lux Russell Lowry's favorite things." Kailyn's first child with ex-boyfriend Chris Lopez. Lux was born on August 5, 2017. Though she and Chris would continue their on-and-off romance for several years. Right now, we don't communicate at all, she revealed to E! News in 2020. I'm hoping that it will get better with time, but I don't have a big vision. I don't have anything negative to say. I hope for our kids that everything works itself out in whatever direction that may be. And whichever way Lux heads, he's getting there fast. Lux came into this world at lightning speed and has kept us on our toes every single day since, Kailyn wrote while celebrating his 6th birthday with a WWE-themed bash. I love this little Leo baby so much. Ahead of Creed Romello Lowry Lopez July 30th, 2020 arrival, Kailyn admitted to wrestling with a huge decision. I hid the pregnancy for so long just because I didn't know what I was going to do, if I was going to keep the baby or not, she explained to E! News shortly after his birth. That was really heavy for me, and I really was struggling during that time. Though her relationship with Creed's dad Chris was notably rocky, one glance at his ultrasound sealed her decision. Much like his older siblings, all 3 of them have asked to hold the baby and they're super loving on him, Kailyn told E! The podcaster was smitten from day one. Creed, Romello, Mello, Romy, Rome, Biggie, Biggs. She wrote on his 3rd birthday a joint WWE fate with Lux. No words could accurately describe my love for this little firecracker, so I'll save the sap for real life. I wanted to be able to tell my own story on my own terms. Kailyn explained to People of keeping news of her 5th son Rio private until well after his November 2022 birth. Though she acknowledged he had a little bit of a traumatic entrance into this world where he went to the NICU. Due to breathing issues and fluid in his lungs, he's been the best baby ever. First-time dad Elijah Scott deserves some props as well. It's been very different from my other partners and my kids' other dads, she said of her fiancé. He pours concrete, he gets down and dirty at work. But he's also just a real family man. He's very much connected with his own family, with our family, and so he's been a really good partner to me, and I feel like it's a really good match. Which is perhaps why her first few months with Rio inspired her to keep the party going. Honestly, being a mom to 4 was harder than 5, but I think that was because my number 4 is so spicy, Kailyn revealed. Number 5 is fantastic. He's the world's greatest baby. Like, if all my babies were like this, I'd have 10 more. Cut to. Kailyn finally entered her girl mom era in late October 2023 with the arrival of Verse and Bally, her 2nd and 3rd children with boyfriend Elijah. Bally, named for Kailyn's childhood growing up in Pennsylvania's Lehigh Valley, endured a longer NICU stay than her brother as she worked through some feeding issues. I had never seen a baby in my life not wake up to eat or show signs of hunger, Kailyn explained on a January 2024 episode of Barely Famous. She would just sleep through feedings. She never had any feeding cues, and when I tried to feed her, she wouldn't take a bottle. And though Kailyn continues to worry about the twins' bond after their extended separation, I'm trying to remagnetize them to get them back to where they were. She's thrilled that her family is finally whole. I feel grateful, thankful, fulfilled, happy, complete, she noted. We're putting an addition on our house because of this. I feel so blessed. They are good babies. Kailyn Lowry is living a much quieter life than her tumultuous hit reality show days on Teen Mom 2. Now a New York Times best-selling author and the host of multiple successful podcasts, the mom of 7 may have left the drama behind her, but it doesn't mean she doesn't like to read about it. The self-proclaimed book lover gave us insight into some of her favorite books, and these titles are full of twists and turns. In an early 2025 interview with Page 6, Lowry shared, "Reading has always been my escape, but it's also where I find pieces of myself." She added that books help her get a better sense of not only her personal experiences, but also the world around her. Her Goodreads profile is a clear reflection of the reality star's love of books. She regularly updates her list of current reads, leaves insightful reviews after finishing her picks, and she's also the 7th most followed person in the US behind authors like Frida McFadden and Rebecca Yarros. From The Nightingale, which was Reese's Book Club's highest-rated pick of all time, to The Wedding People, a popular book that also made Jenna Bush Hager's summer reading list, Lowry's favorite books have a few things in common, and genre isn't one of them, as she reads everything from psychological thrillers to historical fiction. It's obvious she seeks out stories full of secretive, dynamic characters, emotional depth, and high-stakes drama. Lots of it. Best-selling mystery thriller Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey is the first on Kailyn Lowry's list of favorite books. Lowry shared how much she fell in love with every character, adding, "The setting? Unlike anything I've ever come across in a story." And she's right. The story takes place on a remote island and follows a woman trying to uncover dark secrets while simultaneously grappling with the forces of Mother Nature. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna is another book that hasn't left Lowry's mind since reading it. Speaking to Page 6, she said, "It's one of those stories that shifts your whole perspective." Set in Nazi-occupied France, The Nightingale is about two sisters who must fight to survive the horrors of war in their own courageous ways. Lowry described Strange Sally Diamond by Liz Nugent as hands down the most unique book I've ever read. She divulged that the protagonist is probably her favorite character she's read about to date. In this story, a woman on a haunting journey confronts her memories and deepest, darkest secrets. The only issue? She can't tell what actually happened and what might be made up. Alongside these titles were also The Wedding People by Alison Espach, By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult, and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It seems for the Teen Mom 2 star, reading books full of twists and turns is more than just a hobby. It's her way to stay inspired and emotionally connected. Weeks after her ex-husband Javi Marroquin fired off a fired-up rant aimed at her on Instagram Live, Kailyn Lowry is responding to the social media diss and telling her side of the story. Or at least some of it anyway. As the Ashley told you earlier this month, Javi hopped onto Instagram Live to blast Kailyn for allegedly neglecting her parental duties for their son Lincoln, while also claiming that Kailyn was planning to move her alleged secret boyfriend into the Delaware home she resides in with all 7 of her children. Javi also all but confirmed during the live that Kailyn and her fiancé/4th baby daddy Elijah Scott had broken up as a result of the cheating scandal that surfaced in March. While Kailyn remained mostly tight-lipped in the weeks following Javi's Instagram Live tongue lashing, she finally addressed the incident on a recent episode of her Coffee Combos podcast, telling listeners that while she didn't watch Javi's Live in its entirety, she had seen clips from the rant online and was, seemingly very, aware of the comments that were made about her. During the episode, Kailyn acknowledged that while she has often preached about being transparent, she wasn't going to defend who she is as a mom to NEF *** King Body, adding that she really doesn't care what Javi says. People in my life know who I am as a mom. They see me as a mom. They see me showing up for pickup and drop-off, she said. If I'm not dropping off my kids 30 out of 180 days of school, that doesn't make me a bad mom. If I'm working and I'm late to practice, that doesn't make me a bad mom. Kailyn told listeners that while she has seen comments from people on social media insisting that Javi's recent statements about her hold a lot of weight because they came directly from Javi, there's a reason she chose not to respond to the claims immediately. You cannot demand answers from me immediately and simultaneously. If I come forward and I'm emotionally charged and I address every single thing, get mad at me and say, Kailyn's the same, she's raging, she's denying, she's lying, she's deflecting, Kailyn said. But you just demanded answers from me, and you didn't even give me a chance to process this and do it the right way, according to therapy. Kailyn said that she didn't call Javi after hearing what he said about her on Instagram Live and instead sent him a text message asking if he had done a live about her, a text she claims Javi never responded to. Despite her text going unanswered, Kailyn said she did go up to Javi's wife, Lauren Como, that same week to ask what her involvement was in all of that, to which Lauren told Kailyn that she had nothing to do with it. And I feel bad for Lauren. Lauren is not the problem, Kailyn told her podcast listeners this week. She's never been the problem, and really, if you boil it all down, Javi and I have been the problem. The mom of 7 went on to say that, while people may accuse her of deflecting or attempting to not have the heat on herself, she believes that Javi is responsible for any issues she and Lauren have had in the past, claiming that her ex-husband triangulated her and Lauren, hating each other this whole time. I don't care how many times Javi has played victim and how many times I have swallowed my pride and apologized to him, she said. But really, when I look at it all now after he did that, I feel bad for Lauren. I feel bad for how I treated her, and it really boils down to Javi and myself. But mostly, Javi triangulating all of this so that Lauren and I would hate each other and then him, playing victim as if Kailyn was the problem. Later in the episode, Kailyn mentioned a certain topic that Javi allegedly doesn't want her to speak on, something she claimed to have spoken to her therapist about earlier that day, telling listeners that Lincoln is only thing preventing her from discussing this topic publicly. So if Javi wants to vilify me to the internet, where ultimately Lincoln will see it, and he will talk about my relationship track record, he can talk about my kids' dads. He doesn't want it to be normalized, and it's not normal, she said. It's not. As you know, in addition to Lincoln, Kail is a mom to son Elliot with ex Joe Rivera. She also shares sons Lux and Creed with Chris Lopez, and sons Rio and Verse and daughter Valley with Elijah. Kail's co-host, Lindsay Crisley, also took a moment during this week's episode to defend Kail, insisting that Javi was incorrect when he claimed in his live that Kail surrounds herself with people who enable her behavior. Lindsay denied that she or any of Kail's friends and her co-workers enable Kail in any way, arguing that Javi doesn't know what kind of conversations they are all having with Kail. That's why it's called a friendship. That's why it's called a private business working relationship, Lindsay said. And so, he doesn't get to have the right to go on live and say we're nothing but a bunch of enablers. No, the F***K we aren't, because you aren't there for the private conversations. Kail echoed Lindsay's sentiments, calling Javi's statement F***ked, and assuring listeners that there are a lot of people in her life that don't agree with all of the decisions she makes, or the people she dates for that matter. Y'all have expressed concerns about my relationships, but that doesn't mean you stop being my friend, she told Lindsay. Surprisingly, Kail later went on to talk about the Wawa gas station photo she posted to social media a day or so after Javi's Instagram live rant, claiming that the snapshot wasn't a dig at Javi, Ann, or Lauren, but rather a case of her showing some love for a gas station chain she claims she's been a fan of for years. As you may remember, Javi was a guest on a March episode of Kail's Barely Famous podcast, during which the exes discussed Javi's upcoming move to Virginia and talked about how much their formerly and somewhat frequently strained co-parenting relationship had improved in recent months. During the episode, Javi also addressed the issue he has with Kail making jokes about their interactions at the Wawa interactions that allegedly went down while Lauren was pregnant with her and Javi's son Eli, claiming that the jokes cause a lot of pain for himself and Lauren. As a result, Kail vowed to cease the petty petrol posting, only to seemingly go back on that promise in response to Javi's Instagram live comments. This week, however, Kail assured fans that the jokes about Javi and Wawa are separate from her love for Wawa. So, when I got on TikTok and did a trend and put a picture of Wawa, people were like, "Oh, Javi said that you were going to bring this us. This goes to show you're still the same person," Kail stated. I was obsessed with Wawa before the Teen Mom scene. So the people that came in for the Teen Mom scene and think that my association with Wawa has anything to do with Javi, no. I just said that I was going to stop making jokes out of respect for him, she continued. I am not going to stop doing anything now. I think he went live for like 11 minutes or something like that. The amount of details that he left out about the entire situation, of all the situations he listed out, diabolical. Kail also noted on the podcast that while she plans to address all of Javi's claims line by line at some point, she is working with her therapist to process everything first in order to be fully transparent about the situation with listeners.